everybody. I'm back with a special guest. She's so special to me. She is Debra Crawford, but to me, she's on Deb. I wanted to sit down and talk with her for so many reasons. She's been a mentor to me. She's been in my life forever. And as I've gone through high school and college, helped me with so much career stuff. So, Aunt Deb, we need your wisdom. I want you to share your knowledge with everybody and basically just tell us what you do, first of all.
Well, currently, I work for the Department of Human Services for the District of Columbia Government. I am the Family Services Administration Chief of Staff. And I have been doing that position for about 4 years. I started off, I was a deputy administrator for the Family Services Administration.
Yeah.
And I love what I do.
That's amazing. So, chief of staff. That sounds, anything with the word chief in it, I'm just like, oh my gosh. So that means you do a lot of different things.
A lot of different things.
But you first were deputy.
Yeah. So I'm still deputy administrator,
Right.
chief of staff, as well as I am state coordinator for the District of Columbia Office of Refugee Resettlement.
Whoa.
So I kind of have 3 titles.
You have 3 titles all wrapped in one. Oh my goodness. So can you take us through a day of your life?
Oh my God.
Or is it different every day? Because I've shared with you guys that I worked at Department of Human Services as a case manager. And thanks to Aunt Deb, she even before I went back to college, she helped me to shadow people there to see if this is the type of work that I want to do. And so that really helped me. And then from there, I interned and then I worked there. So I would see her barely, because I was out too. So what do you do? Like, is your day the same or is it different?
So that's the good thing about what I do.
Yeah.
No 2 days are alike.
Yeah.
And the main purpose for what we do is that we help people. We help the homeless. We help people who are in need in the city. We help refugees, asylees, unaccompanied refugee minors.
Wow.
We help vulnerable adults, who are dealing with abuse, neglect, exploitation, self-neglect. There are a myriad of things that we do on a daily basis.
Yeah. So the whole family can be served.
The whole family can be served. Exactly.
Anything you need.
Youth programs.
Yes, amazing. Amazing youth division.
That's where you used to work in our youth division. So, we help the family, the individual, the youth.
Yeah.
Elderly, just everybody.
So how did you even get into this work? Now that we know that what you do, take us back to, first of all, you're not from DC. You're a Philly girl.
West Philadelphia,
born and raised.
Yes, I am.
Didn't you go to that same high school?
I went to West Catholic.
West Catholic. Okay.
West Philly was right near.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yep. So when did you come to DC?
So I came to DC. So originally I went to college at the University of Hartford in Connecticut.
Oh my goodness.
I went there for a year. Mm-hmm. Hated
it. Not Connecticut wasn't for you?
No, okay. And I was a political science major. Always loved government and politics, and so I wanted to study political science. At first, I thought I wanted to be an attorney. Right. So I always thought, well, that's what you have to study in undergrad if you want to go to law school.
That's what they tell you still. Is political science. I hear that.
But honestly, if you want to go to law school, you need to study probably English or something that will help you, actually in the field.
Yeah.
But I did a couple of, they were internships and in Philadelphia for a judge because that was my track. I was on track. I was going to be an attorney. And then when I realized all that they did as an attorney, all the reading, all the writing, all the research, and the main reason I wanted to be an attorney is because I like debating and arguing and advocating.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So, but then I found out that very few judges do that. Very few judges actually go to the courtroom to argue cases. So I realized all of that, and I kind of retreated and decided maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah.
So
but the internship helped you, or
it helped me realize what I didn't want to do.
Want to do, yeah.
So that's an important aspect.
Yeah.
Internships not only show you what you want to do, but they show you what you don't want to do, and you want to do them early so that you will be on track with what you actually want to do.
Right.
And that's the thing I am most grateful for, because I was the internship queen.
For real?
When I was in college, I had an internship every time you looked.
That's
I was
good.
doing a different internship.
Yeah.
And they were all non-paid, but
right.
I got a wealth of knowledge. When I was preparing to go to college, I didn't have the best counseling from my high school counselor.
Right.
So I knew nothing about HBCUs. They never mentioned HBCUs to me.
What?
So I had never heard of a Hampton or Howard or Fisk or Spelman. I had never heard of any of those. So I applied to 5 colleges, and I'm trying to remember, there was Rutgers, Penn State, Villanova.
Okay, so still close on the
and University of Hartford. So and so those are the schools I applied to, and I chose the one that gave me the most money.
I know that's right,
because that's all I knew. I didn't have my parents didn't have money to pay for college, so I was like, I have to go where they're giving me the most money, and that was not a wise decision to make. So after I went to Hartford, realized it wasn't for me. So I started looking up colleges, and I was like, if I want to study politics and government, better place to go than Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Not too far from Philadelphia, and I could be at the seat of power.
Yeah.
So I transferred to American University, and that's where it all began.
That's where everything began.
That's where everything began for me.
And you, from there, did you start, what was your major at American?
So it was still political science.
Still political science. You did internships every summer.
I did internships every summer.
Yeah.
And I was involved on campus.
Yeah.
And a lot of different organizations. So I was able to really find my niche at American.
That's great. And then you have friends.
Yep. That lifelong friends that I still have from American University, that we're still very close.
You met your husband in D.C.?
Met my husband at American University. We both went there. So
you were supposed to be in D.C., for sure.
I was meant to be in D.C.
After college, did you feel any type of pressure to have the job lined up, was the job lined up? Were you still working for free? What was that like after you graduated?
So when I graduated from undergrad, so I was a resident advisor.
Okay.
So I was an RA for my junior and senior year.
Okay, nice.
So that really helped me a lot too, especially financially.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I didn't have a plan after I graduated from school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I sat and took the GREs, and I didn't do well.
Yeah, because that's a hard exam.
I literally remember I went in and I was blown away, and I even think I may have fallen asleep or something. It was a bad experience.
Yes.
And so I found out maybe a couple of days. So I applied to American University's grad school.
Okay.
I wanted to major in public administration. And, I was very involved in the American University community. Because I was with the Black Student Union and I was on student government, I just knew American University was going to accept me. And I found out a couple of days before graduation that I did not get in.
And you were already there?
And I was there, and I didn't have a plan B.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
But God.
Come on now.
So after graduation, I went and spoke to the people in administration, and I don't even remember what I said or what happened, but they reconsidered my application and I was able to go into grad school.
Whoa.
Because I didn't know what, and I remember.
That's that advocacy coming out.
That's that advocacy and that's that prayer.
I know that's right, and that's that prayer. Thank you, Lord.
Because I was not prepared to go back to Philadelphia. I was not prepared to go back to Philadelphia.
Not after 4 great years in D.C.
Right. I mean, I'm telling you, this this was where I felt like my life was going to be. And so I was grateful. So I started studying public administration in the fall. So I stayed and worked through the summer.
Great.
Okay. I was still in RA.
So that was taking care of your living situation.
Yes.
At least. You relocated, went to school. God blessed you to get back into the master's program.
Yeah.
And you really recommend that you get involved while you're in college?
Oh, most definitely.
What did it do for you as an adult? Like when you were now, what do you think it's done?
So just getting involved in things at college opened up a whole different perspective for me.
Yeah.
I got to meet people from all over the world.
Yeah.
People who growing up in the inner city of Philadelphia that I didn't have the chance, to interact with on a daily basis. But I got to meet people, hear about their backgrounds and what they were interested in. And it, was able to do a lot of networking and met a lot of phenomenal people at American University. And so it was just being involved exposed me to so much, so many different things. And exposure is the key.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So
until you try something that you never had before.
Right.
So what advice would you have for someone who wants to relocate? Now, you remember me, Aunt Deb. I used to always come to you. Where did I want to go?
California.
Yes. California was my goal. I don't know if I considered all that it would take to uproot my life, especially across country. What things what advice would you say to someone who wants to relocate to another city for work?
I would say definitely do your research.
Yeah.
And like you did, go out there a couple of times to just kind of feel the lay of the land.
Yeah.
And explore what's out there for you. I would never be too hasty with something because honestly, God blessed me to be able to do what I did. But in looking back, I was like, wow, I just kind of uprooted my life.
Yeah.
Never looked back, never had a plan.
Right.
So
you learned from your own, not mistakes, but your own experience. Yeah.
I did. And even, my son, he's now in New York. He wanted to go to New York and we were very cautious about him making that move.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, first thing you need to do is to save some money.
That man he was working so hard that summer.
Right.
I never saw him.
Exactly.
He was on the calls every night, all day.
Because he needed to save some money.
Yeah.
And so that would be the first thing I would say.
Yeah.
Make sure you count the cost.
Count the cost.
Literally.
Right.
Because it's expensive to move.
Yeah, it is.
And you don't want to be in a place, and especially he went to New York. You want to go to California. Those are not inexpensive places.
No.
So that is something that you definitely want to do.
Yeah.
But I would not discourage somebody from doing it because again, it opens up a whole new world for you.
Exactly.
But I would just say do your research, know what you're getting into, know where you're going.
Yeah.
If when you go there, have employment. Now I know some people don't.
Some people, because you see now, people are like, you see, especially on social media, on Deb, I went to California with $20 in faith, and look at what God did. I'm like, okay, well, did you struggle? Because there's all sides to it.
Right.
So there is the faith aspect, but then there's the considering the cost
Right.
and preparing for that too, right?
Right, because you don't hear the whole story.
You don't.
You don't hear the story about how people went evenings without something to eat, and the struggle, and they had to work 3 or 4 jobs, in order to make it, and some of the things that they had to do, that they're like waiting tables or just doing a lot of things that you're like, this is not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why I think it's important to be honest. I admire the I guess, what do you call it? The faith or the leap of faith with that. I just think that it would help our generation sometimes to see the truth of all sides of things, so that we can know, like, okay, I got to work hard. I do have to work for free sometimes. Right. And I love that you said that you volunteered, or that you worked, but you got the lifelong experience that helped you decide like what was next.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So you are a very busy woman. You have a family, you're a wife, you're a mom, you're in ministry. And so how do you manage all of that? Maybe the word isn't manage, and you have friends, family. So how do you, because I see you do it. And I'm amazed. I'm like, this woman is like on the phone. She's at church. She's worshiping. She's this. How do you have the strength? I'm sure God gives you the strength.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that is the answer. I try my best to start each day with prayer, devotion, and I'm on my recumbent bike.
I know that's right.
All at the same time.
Yeah.
And that helps me mentally focus on my day and what it is I need to do. And even first thing in the morning, my husband says I scare him because he'll wake up and my eyes will be wide open and I'm looking like, okay, I have to do this, and this. And, I always tell people I have this internal clock that tells me, okay, this is coming up. And you need to prepare, or you have to do this. So don't forget, you're supposed to do A, B, and C.
Wow.
So it's hard for me to juggle all that I juggle. I mean, I'm even doing some study now. We did something at church called Breathe.
Oh, wow.
And I'm doing some personal studies on how to say no. How to maximize my time, how to de-stress, and just learning about the things that you do need to pay attention to and when you need to pay attention to them.
Wow.
Because I'm getting older, and that stress is a real thing. It is. So I try my best to go to the gym as often as I can. And, I may not have the most rigorous workout at the gym, but what it does, it pulls me away from my day. Yeah. And it puts me in a place of relaxation and thinking about my health and my body and my mind and just de-stressing. So, that helps a lot for me. I believe in doing a lot of fun things.
Yes.
I believe in eating great food.
Yes. And cooking great food. My God. Thank you.
I'll try to do a little bit of that.
Yes.
It's very relaxing to me. On any given, every other Friday, payday Friday, you may find me down at the wharf.
Yes.
Buying some crabs, coming home, and just sitting in front of the TV, so you got to find what works for you.
Yeah. So whatever routine or whatever de-stresses you, that's healthy, of course, people. We're always talking about healthy. Yes. But that's so great that you see the importance of your faith. You talked about starting your day with like prayer. You're doing studies on how to de-stress and how to say no and be intentional about, I guess, taking care of your body. And so how do you do that and I guess do ministry? Like you have to get fed, but you also work heavily in church. So
Yep.
do you ever feel like it's hard to do that, or how do you?
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
But honestly, and I'm really blessed in this area, I feel like my job is ministry. Because of what
Someone
we
just
do,
said that to me.
I feel like that I am ministering every day
Yeah.
by helping people, or honestly, not just helping our clients, but I am afforded the opportunity to help a lot of staff.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
You know, sometimes it's funny. People will come in and say, I saw the shingle outside your door, so I figured I'd come in here and dump. And that's needed.
Yeah, it is.
Because the work we do is so stressful. Sometimes you need to have someone to kind of help you through your day and to talk things out and to talk over even the plan that you have for a client, or something that came up at work, or problems you may be having with a supervisor.
Yeah.
Very few people have someone to talk to about those concerns. So,
Yeah.
you know, God has blessed me in that regard to have favor even with staff.
Yeah.
To be able to help them through
Because
it.
I recall times where you would, I knew you would go out to people's funerals and of people's family members, like just of, not, it may not even be the employee, it may be someone's family. And so I definitely see you like in ministry wherever you go. And I love that perspective, because sometimes when we hear the word ministry, we think, oh, it's within the church.
Right.
But you definitely are always encouraging people, advocating for people, standing up for people, just being there. I'm sure financially you help as well, but I like the perspective of ministry at work. Someone said that to me the other day. My godmother, I told her what I did. I work in a hospital and I help teen moms and their babies. And she was like, that's ministry. And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
You are right about that.
I think we put ministry in a box.
Yeah.
We think it's ministry is really beyond the four walls of the church.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that. A lot of times we're a bunch of light shining among light.
Yeah.
The light needs to be out there in the dark.
In the dark, right.
Because that's where we're most effective.
Absolutely. I love that. And now that you say that, I've been working, because Pastor's been talking about that, and I've been trying to be intentional, that people know I'm a Christian at work, that, it also holds me accountable, because now that they know, because I'm like, Lord, help me to represent you well today, and amongst my clients and my coworkers too. So that's, ministry is outside of the church.
It is.
It really is.
And Brianna, I have to say, you do it, and you do it well. And you do it with ease. And I know it's not easy. But as a young person, you stand firm for what you believe in. And I encourage you to continue to do that. Because we need much more of that.
Yeah.
Especially with the day and times that we're living in.
Thank you, Aunt Deb. I definitely I was not always as confident. I remember growing up looking at Vanessa and Leah, and I was like, I want to be like them, because they're young and they are worshiping. I remember just being in awe of that. But I remember like the first time that I like raised my hands, I was like, is anybody looking at me? I remember being embarrassed about who I was. And so now thank you, because that means a lot to me to see, like, I'm just so comfortable. I love the worship. You see me, you hear me probably. And I'm just, it's a blessing to be connected to you, to your family, and just to have the guidance that I have had. And I'm just, I'm excited about what we're both doing next. Is there anything new that you're doing, or activities?
Hopefully, within the next 5 years, retire. No.
You are not going to. Well, you probably will retire, but I can't see you sitting down.
I will probably never sit down.
No.
And do nothing.
Yes.
It'll just be parlaying into something different.
Something different. Something less intense. I mean, not to say your work is intense, but I'm sure it can be.
Yeah, and I mean, just because of the nature of who I am, I think no matter what I'm doing, it's going to be some level of intensity.
Some level. It's just who you are.
It's
just embrace.
It's just, I'm trying to get better, relax, and breathe.
Wow. So any other last words for professionals, entrepreneurs, just anybody who is in their career and maybe trying to look for what's next or is uncertain in their walk about what to do?
One of the things I would say is don't despise small beginnings. Like whatever God puts your hands to do it, and do it with excellence. Yeah. Because you never know where that might lead you or what that might lead to. So I think it's very important that you may have aspirations of, I want to be X.
Right.
I want to be a social worker.
Right.
That may be your goal. But where you are, you may not have the license, but you may have the ability to help people.
Right.
And to do
the heart for it.
Right. To do some of what social workers do.
Yeah.
So just because it hasn't been validated, like don't despise what you're already doing.
Yeah.
And look into what's out there as far as careers. There's so many careers and things to do out there that we, especially African Americans, we don't have the exposure. You know, a lot of times we don't know what's out there.
Right.
Like, venture out and find out what's out there. Try it for a little bit, and if it's not you,
oh well.
No harm, no foul.
Right.
You know, I'll retreat. Find something else to do.
Yeah.
And because we're resilient, we are strong.
I love us.
Smart. You know, we have a lot of attributes, and I just think that we need to use them more, and believe first in God, and then believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, believe that you can do it.
Right.
That you are the head and not the tail. So
she about to start preaching. Thank you. If I wasn't sitting down, I'd be running.
I know
it's in you. It's in you, and I just no. That is so true about the small beginnings, because and it's hard to see on that when you're younger, especially if you're in high school or you're working summer jobs. You're like, why am I working this job? I remember, no offense to my small beginnings, but I remember working as a camp counselor every summer, and my friends were in New York interning with BET, and I'm like, what about me? You know, and I felt behind. I felt like it wasn't valuable, but I remember taking it seriously after I was like, you know what, this is where I am, and this is a great opportunity. I'm getting paid. And hindsight is crazy, because all those things helped me formulate my personal statement to get into Howard School of Social Work. So, because I was doing counseling on the job.
Exactly.
And so it was, small beginnings are really important.
Exactly. I never forget, after I had my first child, it was hard for me to find a job.
Really?
And so I ended up working at a telemarketing company.
Wow.
At night. I would have to be there around 10 o'clock and not get off until like 1 in the morning or something like that.
As a new mom.
As a new mom.
Whoa.
And I hated that job.
Yeah.
But I something hit me one day, and I was like, I cried out to God, I can't keep doing this. This is hard.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a new mom. I'm away from my child, and this is just hard.
Yeah.
And I know it was God, because all of a sudden I started looking at that job in a different way. I started challenging myself, and I ended up becoming the top salesperson for like 3 or 4 months in a row.
Whoa. When your perspective shifts.
Yes. And it was, you know, God had to change my mind.
Yeah.
Change my mindset. And it was right after that, like after maybe the 3rd or 4th consecutive month, I got a call from a friend who was like, hey, I just started with this organization in the government, and there's some positions here. Would you be interested?
Wow.
And that's where it all began.
Wow.
So, like, again, don't despise small beginnings.
Yeah.
Whatever God gives you to do it with excellence.
Do it with excellence.
And do it, be the most thorough that you can be at it. Be proficient at it. And He'll bless you.
He will. He really will. Yeah, that is amazing. So that's encouraging, your story, because people may hear, oh, I'm the chief of whatever, but they didn't know that you worked hard, telemarketers, 1 a.m.
I had some interesting
some crazy jobs. I have some too. People, Atara makes fun of me she was like, girl, I was like, I'm never going to be without, okay?
Right.
And that was my mentality. I feel like we have the same mentality on that. I was a test proctor. What is that? But God aligned that. Again, in church, every job I've had was somebody's connection through church.
Yeah.
And young people, whoever's listening, like, don't don't get connected to church for resources. But it helps when God blesses you when you're seeking His face. You know what I'm saying?
Everything you need is in the house.
Everything you need.
It's in the house.
Jobs, church.
That's right.
Encouragement, all of that. So. Yeah, Pastor Claude, you, Miss Kathy. I mean, I got community service hours. I got involved in church, so I love that you touched on being involved.
Yeah,
and wherever important. You are.
It is important. And like I said, I see now in society that there isn't as much of an emphasis, especially for young people, to be involved in church.
Yeah, I know.
And it hurts my heart because parents don't understand how important it is to bring your child up in the nurturing and the admonition of the Lord.
Yeah.
And your child needs to be holistic and not just single focus. It's not all about just the sports.
Right.
It's not all about just being involved in one particular thing.
Right.
But setting that foundation that builds character.
Yes.
And that's what will get them to where they need to be.